I snitched on one of my closest friends for cheating on her fiancé. Am I the asshole? I never thought I'd be in a situation like this. I've always been the kind of person who believes in minding my own business, letting people handle their own problems. But in this case, I couldn't. And now I'm wondering if I ruined everything. So, I'm turning to Reddit for perspective, because I honestly have no idea if I did the right thing or if I'm just an awful person. Here's the background. AITA have been best friends with Jessie 30F for over a decade. We met in college, and it was instant. She was this magnetic, bubbly personality, always the center of attention, and we just clicked. We've been through a lot together: breakups, family drama, career changes, the whole shebang. Her fiancé, Matt 3M, is someone I've also known for years. He's a good guy, really easygoing, and I've always thought they were perfect for each other. They've been together for about 5 years, and they got engaged 2 years ago. Their wedding was supposed to be this summer, and Jessie was so excited about it. But about 6 months ago, I started noticing some weird things. Jessie, who has always been super social, started pulling away. At first, I thought it was just the stress of wedding planning, but something didn't sit right. She'd cancel plans last minute, get defensive when I asked about her relationship, and seemed increasingly distracted whenever Matt was around. I thought I was being paranoid, but it didn't stop there. One evening, we were supposed to hang out, just the two of us, like old times. I went to her apartment, and she was acting strange, distracted, and kept checking her phone. At one point, she stepped into the bathroom to take a call, and when she came back, she had this weird look on her face. It wasn't the usual "I'm stressed, but fine" look. This was different, almost guilty. She quickly changed the subject when I asked who had called, but then something happened that made my stomach drop. I went to use her bathroom, and when I opened the door, I noticed her phone on the counter face up. I know, I shouldn't have looked, but I couldn't stop myself. There were messages from someone named Ethan, someone I didn't recognize. The messages were flirtatious, filled with inside jokes and intimate comments. He was texting her at odd hours, saying things like, "Can't wait to see you tonight, and it's been too long since our last adventure." I froze. This wasn't just some casual flirtation. This was an affair. I immediately felt sick, like I'd just uncovered something that would destroy everything. My mind raced. Ethan. Who was he? And why was Jessie hiding this from everyone? I didn't confront her then. I couldn't. I wasn't ready to accuse her of something so serious without more evidence. But I started to pay closer attention. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Jessie became more evasive. She'd disappear for hours, sometimes days. When I asked about her wedding plans, she changed the subject. She even started making excuses to not hang out with me anymore. Something was definitely going on, but I still wasn't sure if I was just being overly suspicious. But then, one day, I ran into Ethan and he didn't know who I was. It was at a bar, and he was with a group of friends. I noticed him because he was wearing the same watch I'd seen in Jessie's pictures. I didn't approach him, but I overheard him talking about some recent adventures he'd had. It was clear that Jessie had been seeing him. It hit me like a ton of bricks. The man she was cheating with someone I didn't even know had become so familiar to her that he was practically a part of her life. But what really broke me was hearing him casually mention Matt like he didn't care that Jessie was engaged. My heart sank. This wasn't a fling. It was a full-blown betrayal. I felt like I was suffocating. I couldn't just sit by and let Matt marry a woman who was betraying him, who had been lying to everyone, including me, for months. I spent days wrestling with myself. Did I have the right to say something? Could I confront Jessie first? But then what if she denied it? What if I lost her as a friend forever? The guilt of not saying anything was unbearable, but the thought of Matt marrying her, oblivious to everything, was worse. Finally, I made the hardest decision of my life. I called Matt. I was shaking when I dialed his number, not knowing what I was about to say. When he picked up, I almost didn't speak, but I told him, as carefully as I could, that I needed to talk to him about something important. He was confused, but he agreed to meet. We met in a park, and I told him everything I had found. I explained about the texts, about Ethan, about how it seemed like Jesse had been having an affair with him for months. I didn't want to believe it myself, but I couldn't let Matt go into this marriage blind. The look on his face, utter disbelief, pain, and then this overwhelming sadness haunts me still. He didn't say much at first, but after a long pause, he asked, "Are you sure about this?" I wanted to say I wasn't, that I was confused, that maybe I was wrong, but I couldn't lie to him. I just nodded and told him everything I knew. He left, and I didn't hear from him for days. I had no idea what he was going to do. I was terrified that I had just destroyed a relationship that I wasn't even sure needed to be destroyed. A few days later, Jessie confronted me. I hadn't heard from her in over a week. When she finally texted, it was short, "We need to talk." She came to my place, and she looked angry, not just angry, but hurt, betrayed. She asked me point blank if I'd told Matt about her affair. I tried to explain why I did it, how I couldn't watch her destroy everything, and she cut me off. "You had no right," she spat. "You didn't even give me a chance to fix it. You just destroyed my life." She was furious. She said she couldn't ever forgive me for breaking her trust, for ruining her relationship with Matt. She said I had betrayed her, and she didn't want anything to do with me anymore. I begged her to understand, to see that I was just trying to protect Matt, but she wouldn't listen. The next day, I found out from some of our mutual friends that Jesse and Matt had broken up. Jesse blamed me entirely, told everyone I was just jealous and trying to break them up. It felt like I'd lost everything. Jesse cut me out of her life completely. And Matt, well, he's been distant. He's not angry at me, but I can tell he's torn. He's asked for space, and I can't blame him. Now I'm left wondering if I did the right thing. I told Matt because I couldn't live with myself knowing what was going on behind his back. But at what cost? I've lost my closest friend, and I've possibly ruined her future with Matt. And I'll never know if I could have done things differently. So, am I the asshole? Did I cross a line by snitching on my best friend? Or did I do what was right, even if it came with a huge personal cost?